Can you tell which is the correct penny? This is the question that Nickerson and Adams asked in their 1979 experiment. After being shown 15 different types of pennies, only a small portion of participants were able to identify the correct one. How did you do? So maybe we aren't great at identifying pennies, but how would we do with logos like Shell, BMW, Instagram, or Pepsi that we see every day? To answer this question, I asked my friends and family to pick between option 1 and option 2 of each of these images. Let's see how they did. Between the two of these, choose option 1 or option 2? 1, 2, 3. That's hard.
So similar. I don't know which one.
I think it's 3.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is really difficult. Well, I know, because we don't pay attention, I guess, is the point.
My grandma's exactly right. We just don't pay attention. Our brains automatically use a selective attention process to only pay attention to the most important parts of an object. So while we might recognize the relative shapes and colors of a symbol, we probably won't recognize details like which side of the Instagram symbol has a dot, for example. This doesn't mean that we forgot this information, but rather we failed to encode it in the first place.
That's where I worked and I wasn't sure.
My grandpa worked at Shell for over 10 years and he still wasn't able to tell the difference between the Shell logos. Why didn't his repeated exposure allow him to recognize the symbol? The answer to this question has to do with the saliency theory. So, with increased exposure to information, it becomes less salient or less noticeable to our minds, and we're less motivated to pay attention to it. I repeated this experiment by having 30 people fill out a Google form. The blue portion of the graph shows the percentage of people who identified the correct logo. These results showed that many people were unable to recognize the correct logo, and we can see that identification dropped to almost chance level for Shell and BMW symbols. Can you imagine if we remembered every detail of every bad or embarrassing thing that's ever happened to us? Our failure to encode these details actually increases our ability to forgive others and decreases negative affect and rumination. By only taking in the most relevant stimuli, we're actually better able to use inferential heuristics to detect causality of events or infer which events are more likely to happen in the future. So maybe we don't take in as much information as we think, but this is actually really important for our daily functioning and overall health. Thank you for listening!